The thing that works better than just high protein is high protein with high fiber. And there's a reason why eating high amounts of these two categories works so insanely well. And it's because they essentially have a Venn diagram of benefits where they do have overlapping benefits, but each of them also covers the downsides of the other. I'm going to share what it is, exactly how to do it, as well as some delicious meal ideas. Let's dive into it. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's in nutrition and human performance. On my channel, I share the science-backed and delicious information to help you achieve your weight loss and wellness dreams without counting calories. So if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Today's video is also sponsored by Element, but more on them in a bit. Now, first of all, let's dive into exactly what it is. For protein, this means that you're eating about 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilograms of body weight. I know that can always sound confusing. I do have a free protein calculator that helps you determine your protein needs. I'll have it linked down in the description below so you don't have to do that calculation. For fiber, it's eating between 30 to 50 grams of fiber per day. This is a lot higher than most people's like 11 to 15 grams of fiber. Now, first, the high protein component. Eating more protein has four main benefits when it comes to especially fat loss or weight loss goals. It results in long-term fullness, so that feeling of satisfaction between meals, so it can help prevent snacking. It results in reduced sugar cravings, which makes it so easy to bypass those sugary treats that would normally work against your goals. It also helps with blood sugar control, so it helps stabilize those blood sugar levels so you don't get a blood sugar spike and crash that can cause spikes in insulin and also those feelings of hunger. And it also helps you to keep your muscle while you're losing fat. This means it helps you to specifically burn fat when you're losing weight, which is not only crucial for body composition, for actually getting the results that you want visually, but also from a metabolism perspective, because when you're able to keep your muscle while losing weight, it makes it so your metabolism doesn't tank and therefore makes it so much easier to maintain the results that you just got. Now, there are downsides to just eating high protein, and there's two main ones. The first is that it doesn't really feed your gut bacteria very well. Yes, the bacteria can feed a bit off the protein, but it really more so thrives on fiber. And as we'll talk about shortly, there are a lot of reasons why you want to make sure that you keep your gut bacteria healthy. The second main downside is digestive discomfort and sometimes constipation. Now, this is because protein can slow digestion, which from a satiety perspective and feeling full and satisfied is really great. But if you only have high protein and you're not getting the fiber as well, then it can slow down too much and lead to constipation. Not the case for everyone, but it certainly can happen. Now, when you add in fiber, you can really double down on the benefits while also cutting back on the downsides of high protein. But before we get into that, I want to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Element, because something that is also very important when you increase your fiber is that you're getting enough water as well as electrolytes. Anybody who has just increased fiber without increasing their water and electrolytes has noticed that they get really annoying constipation issues. And Element is my all-time favorite electrolyte company. I've been using them for so many years now. They actually contain the sodium, potassium, and magnesium to help replace lost electrolytes, all without having any sugar and actually tasting so good. I love that Element makes it really easy to remember and consistently get my electrolytes in because it tastes so dang good without having any sugar. My all-time favorite flavors are the grapefruit and lemonade salt. They're so refreshing, so delicious. Lately, I've been liking to take mine first thing in the morning after my morning workout along with my breakfast so that I can make sure I start off my day feeling properly hydrated and just honestly more energized too. But Element also comes in a lot of other delicious flavors like grapefruit, orange, and raspberry. They even have a chocolate flavor that you can mix with hot water too. And you can get a free 8-count sample pack of Element's most popular drink mix flavors with any purchase at drinkelement.com/autumn. Find your favorite Element flavor or share it with a friend. It is only available through my link, so make sure to check out drinklmnt.com/autumn. The link is also in the description down below. So fiber has three main really amazing benefits. The first is long-term and short-term fullness. So protein isn't as good at making you feel full in that moment. It's better at helping to make you feel full for like 4 hours later. And that's because it helps to raise satiety hormones that take a little bit longer to kick in, but once they kick in, it does really make you feel full and satisfied. Fiber works on the short-term fullness really well. So it causes the stretch mechanism in the stomach to stretch and then signal to your brain that you're full and satisfied and you don't need to keep eating. That only takes like 20 minutes. So when you combine both the protein and the fiber, it helps you feel full in that moment as well as for a longer time. Fiber can also modestly help to increase satiety for the long term too, and that's because it can help to increase the satiety hormone GLP-1, but this is where protein is going to be so much better better at the longer term satiety than the fiber, but when we combine them, they work like beautifully together. Now, the second main benefit is the gut health benefit. Fiber is very well known for feeding our good gut bacteria, which this has a few different benefits. When gut bacteria eats a fiber, it produces anti-inflammatory butyric acid. That just helps improve our overall gut health, which there are so many people with gut health issues. So this in itself is amazing. But then also that butyric acid is what signals our body to release GLP-1, that satiety hormone. Eating more fiber can also reduce our risk of things like diverticulitis and of course constipation. And that's because fiber does help to keep things moving along, whereas protein can kind of slow things down a little bit. So when you get these two balanced, it's like that sweet spot. And then the third is blood sugar control. So this is another one where it overlaps with protein, except it does this benefit in a different way. Protein helps to balance blood sugar levels by slowing down how quickly we're absorbing food. And it also is inherently not going to contribute to carbohydrates. So it's going to help balance blood sugar levels because of that. Fiber helps balance blood sugar levels by literally trapping and preventing absorption of those carbs. So you can think of fiber almost like a net that is holding those carbohydrates in and make it harder for your body to extract them out and absorb them. So this is twofold. It not only slows down the absorption, but it also can reduce the overall amount of carbs that the body is absorbing. All of this resulting in more stable blood sugar levels. Now, there are downsides that are very important to know. There are 4 of them, in fact. The first is that there is zero muscle preservation when we're talking about high fiber. High fiber does not actually help you to maintain muscle while losing weight. So if you're just eating high fiber, then you can very quickly lose a lot of muscle, and that can absolutely tank your metabolism. The second is that you won't feel as full as you do with eating higher protein. And that's because yes, fiber does work on the short term of feeling full and satisfied, but it doesn't do as well at raising satiety hormones as protein. That's why combining them is like the magic ticket. The third is that your gut could be moving too quickly, aka constantly running to the bathroom, which is something none of us want. And that is if you're just having the high fiber and not balancing it out with eating enough protein. And the fourth is having a hard time absorbing nutrients. Now, because fiber does act like a net that stops your body from absorbing certain things, this could also include nutrients too. This is where finding the sweet spot of having enough fiber to see the benefits while also balancing it with enough protein, but also not going overboard on fiber is very, very important. So this is how you actually do it to see the best benefits. It's really a 2-step process. The first step is structuring your meals around protein. This still should be the center of your meal. It still has a lot of crazy benefits. This is still something you should not miss. Depending on your goals and your body, this will look probably between 30 to 50 grams of protein at every single meal. The second thing to do is choose 1 serving of a high fiber food at each meal. Now, a lot of plant foods is going to have some type of fiber, but some are particularly high in fiber. And I found the easiest way of upping fiber without having to track everything you're eating is by just incorporating one of these super high fiber foods at each of your meals and pairing it with the other just regular vegetables that you're having anyway. So we're looking at between 10 to 15 grams of fiber at each meal. And some examples of those items would be 3/4 cup of black beans, 3 tablespoons of chia seeds, 1 artichoke, or 3/4 cup of chickpeas or lentils. I do have a free high fiber food list download. If you want to check that out, I will have it linked down description below. You can see it. It's right there, right there. I have it printed and I keep it on my fridge for easy reference because when you combine protein and high fiber, it's truly magical. So here's what an example day might look like if you're having high protein and high fiber. For breakfast, you could have something like my high protein overnight oats. I do have the full recipe linked right up here if you want to check that out. I also love it because it's very simple to meal prep 5 days worth, especially as a busy, hectic mom. I can keep my mornings a little more calm. Lunch could be something like a leafy green salad with a cup of lentils and some hard-boiled eggs. And then dinner could be bean and ground beef chili. Those are 3 meals that are high in protein and high in fiber that give you at least 30 grams of protein per meal, as well as at least 10 grams of fiber at each meal. Now, we can really go down the rabbit hole of fiber. There's a lot to learn about it, but I do want to leave you with one word of caution that is very important to hear. Please be cautious of too much fiber. There is a sweet spot. Too little, not good. Too high could also cause some serious issues, especially related to gut health issues, severe constipation, or difficult time absorbing nutrients. Now, we're talking about 100 grams of fiber, or even really just above 50 grams of fiber. Although if you are following this structure, it is so hard to do that with just eating regular food. The problem comes in when we start relying on fiber supplements. This is why I do not like to use fiber supplements. I personally had a friend who literally had to go to the hospital from taking too many of these fiber supplements. Now, there are a lot of benefits of fiber in food, but when we take it in supplemental form, it can be really easy to have these very high levels that don't actually serve our goals the way that we think. So if you are using fiber supplements, just make sure it's done carefully. But just also know that you absolutely do not need the fiber supplements to see the benefits. Just check out my free high fiber food list. they're all right there. Now, if you want to see what I eat in a week with a ton of different meal ideas that are both high fiber and high protein, you can check out this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.